Hi, welcome back to Momentum Academy. This lesson is part of our Bubble.io bootcamp. You can find the complete course linked in the description below, and if you want more in-depth Bubble tutorials like this, make sure you subscribe so as not to miss the next lessons. You can also find a link to the playlist in order to join in with the full build-along of our professional landing page. In this lesson, we're going to configure all of our font styles in Bubble. We've already set the fonts on the page to match our Figma file, so now we are simply turning those correctly configured elements into reusable styles that form the basis of our design system. This is an important step because styles give us consistency, they speed up development, and they make your Bubble app far easier to maintain. Before we start creating them, I want to introduce a few very useful style features that we'll use throughout the rest of this build. Bubble allows us to create a new style, detach a style, override a style, and replace the element type. You've seen some of these in passing, but now we'll walk through them in a practical way. You can create a style from the Styles tab by selecting Add Style. You can also create a style directly from an element on the page by selecting it, scrolling down in the Style drop-down, and choosing Create a New Style. Detaching a style removes the connection between the element and the shared style, leaving you with a local version that you can edit freely. For example, if an element uses heading 1, you can detach the style, make the adjustments you want, and if those changes should become a new style altogether, you can choose Create New Style to save it as something separate. I'll undo those changes so everything stays tidy. Overriding a style is different. This is for moments where you want to change only one or two things. Perhaps you want to center a line a single heading while keeping everything else the same, or maybe switch to light text on a dark background. The overridden property stays local to that one element, while the rest still follows the shared style. You can also replace the element type, which isn't strictly a style feature but is closely related. When you select a text element, you can replace it with another visual element type while keeping most of the formatting, like converting a text element to a button. This becomes much easier to manage when you use clear, descriptive names for your elements. So if you change a text into a button, make sure you change the name of that element to button too. All of these tools are designed to help you avoid repeating the same settings over and over. Imagine you had 3 groups on the page and each one had its own manually configured spacing, colours, fonts and shadows. Whenever the design changed, you'd have to edit all 3. Instead, by applying a shared style, those changes only need to happen once. It keeps your app lighter, cleaner and much easier to maintain as it grows. As we create each style, we want to make sure we apply the correct HTML tag for SEO to each font. Let's start creating our font styles. First, in Style Variables, check that your app font is set to Inter. Next, navigate to the Element Styles tab and scroll down to find the text styles. Bubble creates these styles by default, but we want to create our own, so we will delete these default ones before we get started. Bubble may warn that a style is in use, but that's fine for our project. We want a completely clean slate, so our naming matches the Figma design system exactly. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all these default styles. Now we'll move through the page and create each style directly from the property editor, starting with the elements that already have the correct font, weight and size. This is where we refer back to Figma. For each element we select, we'll check Figma for the correct style name and then check the exact colour being used in the high fidelity version. Because we've already set all the typography correctly on the page, we won't adjust the fonts themselves, just confirm the naming and the colour before turning the element into a style. Now let's start building our actual font styles. In Figma, navigate to the high fidelity page and begin by selecting the first navigation text at the top of the page, About. This text is body regular and is in the primary colour. We also added a bottom border to this text, so instead of using this to make our body regular style, we'll create a unique style for this. Back in Bubble, select the About text and change the colour to primary. As we go through each style, check that each text is set to App Font Inter rather than just Inter. This means that if you decide to change your app font, it will change all these styles automatically. Next, in the style, drop down, scroll down and choose Create a New Style. Name it Nav Text. Now apply this style to the other navigation links. Next, select the main hero heading. In Figma, this is called Heading 1. In the design here, the font is with a gradient, but we won't implement this as it requires CSS in Bubble. Instead, we will use our primary colour for the text. Back in Bubble, change the colour to our primary colour and set the HTML tag to H1. Now create a new style and name it Heading 1. Now select the hero subheading beneath it. In Figma, this is called subheading 2. As we'll be using this style elsewhere on our page, we will set the default colour for grey 70, then override the colour in the instance it appears in the hero. Back in Bubble, set the HTML tag to H4, set the colour as grey 70, then create a new style and name it subheading 2. Then override the colour here to primary. Next, we'll configure the headings for the main sections of the page. Scroll down to the Features section and select the heading Our Services. In Figma, this is labelled Subheading 1. Here it is white, but elsewhere it is grey 700. So, as before, we will set the style in the grey and then override the colour for this text once we add our dark background to the page. In Bubble, set the HTML tag to H3. Change this text colour to grey 70, then create a new style and name it Subheading 1. Beneath is a short explanatory line of text. In Figma, this is body L regular. The line spacing is 0. I have noticed that in Bubble, this text has inherited a negative spacing from when I duplicated it from the heading, so we will correct that before we create the style. Here the colour is white, but elsewhere it is grey 700, so we will set the style in the grey and then override the colour once we add the background. In Bubble, select the text and change the line spacing to 0. Next, change the colour to grey 70. Set the HTML tag to normal. Then create a new style and name it Body L Regular. Next, let's check our card title in Figma. This is subheading 2, which we have already created. The text below is our Body L Regular text with the font size 18. This is in grey 500, so we will override the style to achieve this colour. Back in Bubble, select the title and apply the subheading 2 style. Now select the feature description beneath and apply the Body L Regular style. Next, override the colour to set it to grey 50. Override the alignment to centre too. In the same way, set the styles for the heading and description of the remaining cards. Next on our page is the testimonial heading. In Figma, this is the subheading 1 style that we have already created, and this time it is in grey 700. The text underneath is the Body L in grey 700 too, so we can apply that style as well. Back in Bubble, select the testimonial heading. Don't just take our word for it, and apply the subheading 1 style. Select the text underneath and apply the Body L Regular style. Now scroll to the testimonial quote. This one is called Marketing Subheading 1. This is a bit confusing, but if we refer back to our typography page in Figma, you can see that we have this typography for marketing here. So we will create this style to match our quote. Back in Bubble, select the quote and set the HTML tag to heading 3. Next, create a new style and name it Marketing Subheading 1. Back in Figma, the author name and author role don't map to a particular style, so we will leave these for now. Move down to the contact section and select the main heading. We'd love to hear from you. In Figma, this is heading 2 and is in grey 700. The text beneath it is Body L bold in grey 700. Back in Bubble, select the heading, set the HTML tag to H2, set the colour to grey 70, then create a new style and name it heading 2. Next, select the text beneath, set this colour to grey 70, and next create a style and name it Body L Bold. Now let's check the form field labels. In Figma, these are all labelled as label and the colour is grey 700. Let's also check the contact information below. This is Body L Regular and is in the primary colour. The icons are also in the primary colour. Back in Bubble, select the first label, Email. Set the colour as grey 70. Next, create a new style. Name it Label. Now apply it to all the labels in the form. Next, select the contact address text and apply the body L regular. Then override the colour to primary. We'll do the same for the phone number. And also for the email address. We'll also change the icon colours to primary too. Finally, scroll to the footer. In Figma, these text elements are body regular bold, and here they are white. The text beneath is body small and is also white. We will create both of these styles in grey 70 and then override the colour to white once we have added our background colour. In Bubble select text About, set the colour to grey 70, create a new style, name it Body Regular Bold. Apply this style to each of these navigation text elements. Finally, select the copyright line. Create a new style, name it Body S Regular. Once all of these are created, take a slow scroll through your page and check that every single text element is now connected to a style. Nothing should be set to none anymore, and all colours should be using the colour variables we implemented earlier. This is how your design system becomes real inside Bubble. That's everything for configuring your font styles. In the next lesson, we'll continue refining our design system and moving our design into high fidelity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next section.